Alexander Harvey, and as some of you might know, I'm the author of the Drake Chronicles, which is a series of vampire books. So why vampires? I'm aware that by just saying the word vampire, some of you have already turned this off, and others are rolling their eyes in their heads so far back they can see their own brain. And yet still, some of you are interested. What is it about them after hundreds of years of folktales and mythology? After more recent TV shows and movies and fantasy novels, after the vampire fatigue of the last 20 years where it was like medical exhaustion to even think about vampires, what is it about vampires that just won't die? You see what I did there? There have been stories of revenants and hungry ghosts for thousands of years, and they're universal. They spread from Russia to China, South America to Sweden, North America to Romania. They speak to something primal within us. They're hungry ghosts, they're vampires and zombies, they're corpses that just won't stay dead. They feed on human souls, human blood, or human brains. Because yummy? By coming back from the dead and drinking human blood, they are breaking two very ancient and serious taboos. One, because apparently coming back from the dead, while kinda cool, is apparently also kinda rude. And two, because drinking human blood is gross. That's not okay, dude. It's not okay. Ancestor worship is also tied into the idea of vampires. So if you're not feeding your beloved dead, if you're not feeding the family spirits, then they're gonna come back hungry. Actually, they're gonna come back hangry. And then they're gonna come out of the ground and come looking for you to drink your blood. I'm just saying. So all you gotta do is give them a little food that isn't a person, and you should be okay. But the thing is, if you do it wrong, you're not gonna be okay. They'll be coming to get you. There's also a theory that premature burial was more common than we might think. So poor great Aunt Helen, she's really sick. She's looking kind of dead. She's not moving, she's not breathing. So you bury her because that's what you do with dead bodies. But the thing is, Aunt Helen's not really dead. Maybe she's in a coma, maybe she's unconscious, but the point is she wakes up in a coffin under the ground. And she's not happy about it because coffin. So she's come back and she's confused and she's angry maybe, and she wants to spread her vengeance. And her cooties. Her vampire cooties. Aunt Helen, why you gotta be like that? So Aunt Helen, kinda dead, kinda hungry, kinda pissed, and she's coming for you. So how do you protect yourself? Hundreds of years of vampire lore would tell you to sit in sunlight, which is a little difficult to do in the middle of the night, so in those cases you would use garlic, crucifixes, or holy water. Decapitation is also popular, because generally speaking that works on whatever kind of monster you got. Doesn't really matter what you are, unless you're the Highlander. Actually, especially if you're the Highlander. If they're chopping off your head, you're kinda dead. You can also pour boiling water over Aunt Helen's grave and scatter mustard seeds on the roof of your house. If you're in Eastern Europe, you would scatter poppy seeds or millet seeds around her grave. The idea is that Aunt Helen would be compelled to stop and count every single seed and grain before coming to your house for her undead snacks. Another way to stop Aunt Helen from coming out of the ground to eat you is to stuff her mouth full of garlic. This was actually quite common in a few villages. They would wait a week or two or a month. I'm not sure why they didn't do this to begin with, but no, they wanted to wait until the bodies were nice and gross. They would dig them up, chop off their heads, fill their mouths full of garlic, and then bury them back down again. Fun for the whole family! Burying the body face down is another good way to keep Aunt Helen down. If you're in 16th century Venice, you would put a brick between her jaws. In Saxony, Aunt Helen would get a lemon stuffed in her mouth. You could also sever the tendons behind her knees, because we're not messing around here. If Aunt Helen was Romany, her grave would be filled with wild roses, thorns would be put in her clothes, hawthorn in her sock, and iron or steel needles would be put through her eyes. In Germany, her head would be chopped off, once again, and placed between her knees or her feet. Generally speaking, these traditions aren't so much about stopping Aunt Helen from becoming a vampire, they're more about protecting you just in case she already is a vampire. So you're weighing her body down with stones, with iron rods, and stakes through the heart. If you're in Russia, those stakes are made of ash wood, and if you're in Serbia, oak is preferred. I'm gonna say that if Aunt Helen is coming to get you, you just grab whatever old stick you can find. I don't think it matters what it's made from at that point. Desperate times. And if Aunt Helen happens to live in Albania, you would have a virgin boy lead a white stallion through the cemetery. If that horse decides, no, thank you, I'm not walking over that grave, then I'm sorry to say Aunt Helen is a vampire. Clearly. If you live in ancient Slavic countries or ancient China, do not let a dog or a cat jump over her grave, because apparently this is so rude it will wake her up under the ground and then she will come out to kick some ass. Vampires! Disgusting, grody fun for the whole family.